Imagine you're sitting in the cockpit of a commercial airliner.
Okay.
And you're hurtling through the sky at like 600 miles an hour. But there is a major problem.
I don't like the sound of this already.
Right. So almost every single dial, gauge, and screen on your dashboard is completely covered in duct tape.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The only instrument you can actually see is a tiny fuel gauge, and get this, it only updates its reading once every 3 weeks.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't just be stressed in that scenario.
Yeah.
You'd be entirely unable to make any of the micro adjustments you need to actually keep the plane in the air.
Exactly.
Like a sudden drop in altitude or, a shift in wind direction
Yeah.
would just go completely unnoticed until it's far too late.
And yet, this terrifying scenario is exactly how thousands of incredibly smart, highly capable executives are currently running their organizations right now in 2026.
Yeah, it's wild.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. I want to give a massive welcome to all the followers of the C9 business page tuning in today, and a very specific greeting to all the Australian business owners and C-level executives joining us. I'm Lex, representing the C9 podcast show.
And I'm Vera, also with the C9 podcast show. And today we're unpacking this really fascinating stack of case studies and industry research.
Yeah, lots to cover.
Definitely. We're looking at the 2026 KPMG executive surveys and the latest Australian industry group outlook reports.
Our mission today is straightforward, but really critical. We're uncovering exactly why so many top-tier Australian businesses are still flying blind.
Yeah, relying on those outdated spreadsheets.
Exactly. Spreadsheets and fragmented systems. And more importantly, we're mapping out how custom business intelligence, or BI, is turning that messy, bottleneck data into this massive competitive advantage. So whether you're trying to optimize a complex supply chain or maybe speed up regulatory compliance reporting or just figure out where your cash flow is getting stuck, we're going to show you how to turn your data into your most strategic asset.
Because the contrast between the external pressures businesses face right now and their internal operating systems is it's jarring.
It really is.
Like if you look at the economic climate outlined in the KPMG and AI group reports, Australian executives are operating in an absolute pressure cooker.
Yeah, they're feeling it.
You've got rising wage costs, incredibly strict regulatory reporting demands, and intense input price pressures. The margin for error is just razor thin.
So the reality on the ground is super messy. You've got all these rapid-fire external pressures, but internally, businesses are totally trapped in legacy systems. We're talking about like highly paid staff spending weeks manually compiling end-of-month reports. Data is completely fragmented across different departments.
Yeah, the silos.
Right, and the key performance indicators are entirely inconsistent depending on which branch office you're talking to. So decision makers are constantly playing defense,
Reacting to problems a month after they happen, rather than anticipating opportunities.
Exactly.
Which creates a severe operational drag. I mean, when a financial report takes 3 weeks to compile, the information is completely stale by the time it reaches the boardroom table.
It's basically useless.
Pretty much. You can't optimize inventory or accurately forecast cash flow amid all this economic uncertainty if your data is trapped in a silo. You certainly cannot respond swiftly to a sudden market shift.
Honestly, running a modern business in 2026 on manual Excel sheets is basically like navigating the Australian outback using a map from 1995.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
And the map has been torn into a dozen pieces and everyone in the car is holding a different piece.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Right. Sure, you might eventually get to your destination, but it's going to be incredibly slow, painfully expensive, and ridiculously risky.
And the cost of holding onto those torn map pieces is highly quantifiable now.
Yeah, the data backs this up.
It does. Organizations that successfully become data-driven achieve up to 23% higher profitability.
23%. Wow.
Yeah, so this means the cost of inaction is no longer just like administrative headache for your IT department. It is a measurable, definitive, competitive disadvantage.
Right. If you're flying blind, your competitors who have real-time visibility are actively pulling ahead of you.
Exactly. They're capturing the market share you're just leaving on the table.
Okay, I have to stop you there, though, because if I'm an executive listening right now and I'm bleeding cash or losing market share due to slow decision-making, hearing the phrase custom software development sort of terrifies me.
Totally. It sounds daunting.
Right. Custom sounds like an 18-month IT project that goes double over budget. So why wouldn't I just buy a pre-packaged generic software tool off the shelf and just force my team to use it? At least I know it turns on tomorrow morning.
Well, that's the exact trap so many organizations fall into out of desperation.
Yeah.
But the data systematically dismantles the assumption that generic is better or faster in the long run.
Really? How so?
Here's the underlying mechanism you have to understand. When you buy an off-the-shelf generic BI tool, you are basically buying a predetermined way of working.
Right.
You have a unique business with unique operations that have actually made you successful. Generic software doesn't care about your unique operations.
It just wants you to do it its way.
Exactly. It forces you to change your internal workflows to fit its rigid limitations.
Okay, so you end up breaking the very processes that gave your business its edge in the first place just to make the software happy.
Yeah.
You're retrofitting your company to the tool instead of the other way around.
Custom business intelligence flips that dynamic entirely. It aligns perfectly with your existing operations, it adapts to you, and the financial impact of this alignment is striking.
What are the numbers looking like?
Custom solutions actually deliver a 27 to 42% higher return on investment for mid-sized Australian enterprises compared to generic tools.
That is massive. And the manual effort reduction is where it gets incredibly tangible, right?
Definitely.
Because when businesses build custom architecture with C9, they're seeing a 50 to 80% reduction in manual administrative effort.
80% is huge.
Let's just pause and think about what that means for you as a business owner. We are living in an era of intense skill shortages. Finding good people is hard.
So hard.
If you can cut manual data entry by 80%, you are freeing up your absolute best staff, your most expensive talent.
To actually strategize, analyze, and grow the business.
Exactly. They aren't just copying and pasting numbers from one spreadsheet to another anymore.
And that is achieved through very specific technical capabilities. We aren't just talking about making your spreadsheets look prettier with a nice pie chart.
Right. Anyone can make a pie chart.
We're talking about real-time dynamic dashboards, automated alerts that flag an anomaly before it becomes a crisis, and importantly, seamless integrations with the legacy ERP and CRM systems you already have.
Yeah, that integration piece is key.
Custom BI acts as a bridge, pulling everything together without forcing you to rip out your entire digital infrastructure.
Okay, let's actually define some of that jargon for anyone who isn't deep in enterprise software.
Good idea.
When we say ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, we're basically talking about the central nervous system of a company, right? The software that handles your finances, supply chain, operations, commerce, and reporting all in one place.
That is the perfect way to look at it.
Yeah.
The ERP is the central nervous system, and the CRM, customer relationship management, is how you track every interaction with your clients and sales pipeline.
Right.
When those systems don't talk to each other, or when you have external branches using their own isolated tools, the nervous system just breaks down.
So let's look at what happens when that nervous system breaks in the real world and how custom BI fixes it. Let's dive into the PubTech case study, which is part of Third Place Hospitality.
Yeah, PubTech is a classic example of growth outpacing infrastructure. They're a national hospitality group, and they were quite literally drowning in Excel chaos.
Not a fun place to be.
No, because they had fragmented spreadsheets across all their different venue locations, the data was wildly inconsistent. Tracking key performance indicators centrally was nearly impossible.
So no one knew what was going on.
Exactly. The leadership team couldn't get a unified view of how the national operation was actually performing on a day-to-day basis.
It's like trying to translate a UN summit where every single ambassador is speaking a different language and nobody has an interpreter.
That's a great analogy.
Nothing gets done. So what C9 did was step in and build a centralized dashboard that acts as a universal earpiece.
Yeah.
Suddenly, every single location is feeding data into one unified interface, translated into the exact same metrics.
And that changes everything. The leadership went from being reactive, finding out a venue lost money 3 weeks ago, to proactive, seeing the trends in real time.
That unified visibility is transformational. But what happens when the problem isn't just internal fragmentation, but like a massive structural disconnect across international borders?
Oh, this brings us to the Atkins global case study.
Right.
They are a massive multinational engineering firm. And following a complex merger, their Australian team entirely lost access to their UK-based ERP data.
A system called J.D. Edwards, right?
Yes.
That is a terrifying scenario. You lose access to the mothership's central nervous system, and suddenly you cannot process invoices.
Exactly. This resulted in weeks-long invoice delays for the Australian arm.
For an engineering firm handling massive infrastructure projects, that is catastrophic. If you can't invoice, your cash flow completely starves. You can't make payroll.
The financial plumbing was totally severed. So how do you fix a structural disconnect that massive without waiting years for a global IT overhaul?
Right, you can't just wait around.
No. So C9 built a local data warehouse specifically for the Australian team, equipped with nightly ETL pipelines.
Okay, let's break down ETL, because that is the magic behind the scenes here. ETL stands for extract, transform, load.
Yes. Think of it as an automated night shift worker.
Okay, I like that.
Every single night while the Australian team sleeps, the ETL system reaches securely into the complex overseas UK ERP system. That is the extract phase.
Right.
Then comes the transform phase, which is crucial. UK data might have different date formats, different currency codes, or even different tax structures.
Sure, pounds versus dollars.
Exactly. The system cleans and standardizes all that raw data so it makes sense for the Australian operation.
Got it.
Finally, it loads that clean, perfectly formatted data into the local Australian data warehouse.
So when the Australian team logs in at 8 a.m., they have exactly what they need. And the business result of that overnight pipeline is just staggering. They saw a 92% reduction in invoicing backlogs.
92%.
For the executives listening, think about what solving an integration issue like that does for your business. It directly and immediately rescues your cash flow.
Yeah, it takes a crisis that is causing weeks of delay and resolves it seamlessly in the background.
What's truly fascinating here is the versatility of this approach. We just looked at the heavy, complex ERP integration of a multinational engineering firm.
Right.
But the exact same underlying philosophy, creating a single unified source of truth, applies to businesses that require rapid speed and massive scalability across completely different sectors.
Which takes us to the challenge of scaling a franchise. Let's look at Studio Pilates.
Oh, yeah.
They're expanding internationally. They use Microsoft Power BI embedded, integrated directly through C9's custom architecture to gain strategic visibility across all their global locations.
Because when you're running a franchise model, consistency is everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You live and die by the brand standard. You need to know if a location in another country is underperforming on client retention or class bookings the second it happens, not at the end of the quarter.
Right. You also have businesses like SES Portal, Specialist Electrical Solutions. They were stuck in the manual administrative trap. Their timesheet tracking and profit and loss reporting used to take hours of manual labor every single week.
Oh, that's just a drain on resources.
Total drain. So C9 built an extensible management portal for them. And just to define that, an extensible portal is a custom-built digital workspace that can grow and add new features as the business grows.
That's key. It grows with you.
Right. By routing their data through this portal, that same profit and loss reporting was reduced from hours to mere seconds.
Wow.
That shifts the business from post-mortem reporting to just-in-time decision-making.
I want to dive deep into another example to show how this actually restructures physical operations too, not just digital ones.
Oh, definitely.
Take Avo Data. They need to track the entire distribution and sales reporting for the Australian avocado industry. Think about the physical journey of an avocado. It goes from a farmer to a packing shed, onto a refrigerated truck, into a wholesale warehouse, and finally to a supermarket shelf.
That's a lot of steps.
And if the data tracking that physical journey is fragmented, the supply chain slows down and physical produce rots.
So by building a modern web platform, they unified the physical reality with the digital tracking.
Exactly. Everyone along the supply chain is looking at the same real-time data. It removes the friction that causes delays and waste.
And on the flip side of physical produce, you have companies like Tranex Dashboard, who achieve near real-time operational agility with their data refreshing every 5 minutes.
5 minutes. That's incredible.
When your data refreshes every 5 minutes, you aren't just tracking your business. You are actively steering it minute by minute.
Synthesizing all these examples, whether we're talking about engineering, international fitness franchises, electrical solutions, or agriculture, it reveals a clear pattern, which the underlying architecture of a single source of truth is the ultimate growth lever. It genuinely does not matter what sector you operate in.
Yeah.
If your data is siloed, your growth is restricted. If your data is unified and customized to your specific workflow, You can scale indefinitely.
We've talked about the problem. We've explored why generic tools fall short and force you to change your business, and we've seen the mechanical proof in the real world.
Hmm.
Let's pivot to the practical application. Let's open up the 2026 Executive Playbook.
Let's do it.
If you are an executive listening to this right now, how do you actually implement these lessons in your own boardroom tomorrow morning?
There are 4 core actionable best practices derived from these successful implementations. Step 1 is you have to start with clear objectives.
Makes sense.
You cannot just build a dashboard for the sake of looking innovative. You need to align the BI initiative with a highly specific business goal.
Like what?
Like, are you building this to reduce operational costs, or are you building it to identify new revenue growth opportunities? The objective dictates the entire technical design.
Because if you don't know the destination, the GPS can't help you.
Exactly. Step 2 is prioritize seamless integration. The entire goal is to eliminate silos. Your new BI platform must talk to your existing inventory, HR, and finance systems seamlessly.
Right.
Step 3 is ensure scalability and security. This is particularly crucial in Australia, where data sovereignty and regulatory compliance are incredibly strict.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to build an architecture that not only meets today's legal standards, but is robust enough to scale as your business expands over the next decade.
And step 4 is to measure ROI rigorously. Don't just implement the system, pat yourself on the back, and walk away. Track the metrics. How much reporting time was saved this month compared to last?
How much faster are decisions being made?
Exactly. What is the direct, measurable impact on the bottom line?
Those 4 steps form the technical and strategic foundation. But honestly, there is a 5th non-technical factor that is arguably the most difficult part of this entire process.
The human element.
Yeah,
I want to dwell on this because change management is brutal.
it really is.
Implementing custom BI is tough. The technology only solves half the problem. You have to focus heavily on user adoption. Look, you can spend a fortune building the most advanced, beautiful, real-time dashboard in the world.
Right.
But if your staff finds the interface frustrating to use, or if they feel like the software is making their job harder, it is completely useless.
Human psychology is the biggest hurdle. People inherently dislike learning new software. It disrupts their routine.
Exactly. Do you know what frustrated staff will do?
What?
They will quietly revert to their secret, error-riddled, manual Excel spreadsheets to get their work done, and they will just paste the final number into your expensive new system to keep management happy.
Oh, I've seen that happen so many times.
You have to design the system for the actual humans using it. Acknowledge that training takes time, and there will be friction.
That is a profound point, and it circles back to why custom architecture is so valuable. A system is only as powerful as the willingness of the team to utilize it.
Yep.
When a system is custom built around the way the team naturally works, when it mimics their existing logic rather than fighting it, that resistance to change drops dramatically.
Because you aren't forcing them to learn a rigid new philosophy, you're just giving them a vastly faster tool to do what they already know how to do.
Exactly.
Bringing this all together, the core mission of this deep dive was to illustrate why shifting away from fragmented legacy systems is not just some routine IT upgrade.
No, it's way more than that.
In Australia's highly regulated, high-pressure, fast-moving market, moving to custom business intelligence is a fundamental survival and growth strategy. You simply cannot navigate 2026 with a torn map from 1995.
You need a system that acts as a real-time GPS, dynamically adjusting to the terrain and giving you the exact insights you need, exactly when you need them.
Spot on.
The cost savings from eliminating manual entry, the risk mitigation of having accurate data, and the massive revenue opportunities are just too significant to ignore.
So, if you are an executive drowning in spreadsheets, tired of reactive decision-making, and ready to turn your data into your most powerful asset, it is time to take action. You need to partner with C9, Australia's leading custom software, apps, integration, and database developer company.
They are the experts who actually architect and build the specific custom solutions we've been breaking down today.
Yeah.
To unlock the full value of your data and see exactly how they can transform your specific operations, visit their website directly at www.c9.com.au.
Right.
That's www.c9.com/c9.au.
And before you go, make sure you click that follow button on the C9 business page. If you have colleagues, partners, or other executives in your network who are pulling their hair out over delayed reports and fragmented data, share this deep dive with them.
There might just be the exact lifeline their business needs right now.
It really might. It has been a fascinating exploration of how customized digital architecture is fundamentally redefining Australian business capabilities.
It really has.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought. Think back to that airliner cockpit we talked about at the beginning, with all the crucial dials covered in duct tape.
Yeah, terrifying.
Now imagine ripping all that tape off in one swift motion. If your business's raw data could suddenly speak to you right now, completely unfiltered and in real time. Wait, no, totally unfiltered.
Right.
Would it be telling you a brilliant story of hidden, untapped profits? Or would it be urgently whispering about a massive operational blind spot you haven't even noticed yet?
The data already knows the answer.
Exactly. It's just waiting for you to give it a voice.